Believing that you are in good faith, I wish to invite you to this session this afternoon. I pray that God gives you good health and continues to protect you all through. As you also pray for me, so that we keep communicating in whichever means we are communicating. You are learning something from me, and in return, I'll also learn something from you, because I believe you will get back a feedback to me through my email, which is makohamunika@gmail.com. Today's episode, Good People, is about 30 Things Vision Agenda, as you can see from the attire I'm wearing. That is what we advocate for, under our patron, who is Charlene Chelagat Ruto. And good people, this 30 Things Vision Agenda is sort of categorized into 3 categories, which I'll highlight later. But I want to be clear that this one is sort of specific and general. Specific in the manner that it puts into consideration the youth's population, and general in the context that it addresses all youths across the world. It doesn't segregate a generation maybe basis on the race, color, ethnicity, regionalism. No, it is general because it is targeting all the youths. So any youth, wherever you are my good listener, and you will respond if you have learned something of profound importance. You will respond through my email, which I'll share with you. That is makohamunika@gmail.com. The 30 Things Vision Agenda for the Youth is a comprehensive, transformative policy framework which is designed to reposition the youth at the center of sustainable development. It seeks to change the mindset, ignite innovation, and empower young people to become drivers of economic, social, and environmental change. Build upon 3 interrelated pillars, that is youth in action, youth and society, and climate change and agriculture. The agenda captures the 30 focus areas that address the holistic needs of young people across Africa, particularly in Kenya, while maintaining the global relevancy. Across the African continent, from the bustling streets of Nairobi to the dusty villages of Bungoma, from Accra in Ghana to Lagos in Nigeria, from Kigali in Rwanda to Cape Town in South Africa, from Tokyo in Japan to Washington, D.C. in the United States of America, one truth remains constant. Good people, the youth are the heart of the continent and the world's future and destiny. Africa is the youngest continent on earth, with over 60% of its population under the age of 25 years. Kenya, like many African nations, boasts on the energetic, creative, and determined youth population, which is eager to shape the future. Yet, despite their potential, many remain trapped in cycles of unemployment, poverty, hopelessness, and exclusion from governance. Therefore, the 30 Things Vision Agenda for Youth is not merely a policy framework. It is a call to awaken the sleeping giant. I believe the youth are the giants. The African youth, it is the roadmap designed to transform the mindset, empower communities, and build resilience against the social and economic barriers that have long hindered the progress. And therefore, This policy document presents a blueprint for re-engineering the youth mindset from dependency to innovation, from consumption to creation, and from despair to hope. It recognizes that Africa's demographic advantage can only translate into prosperity through deliberate empowerment, structured mentorship, and inclusive participation in governance, economy, and society. Globally, the youth population is the largest in history. In Africa, over 60, as I've said earlier, of the citizens are under 25 years old. This generation will determine whether Africa becomes a continent of opportunity or one of the unfulfilled potential. The 30 Things Vision Agenda therefore calls on all stakeholders, governments, private sectors, civil society, development partners, and the youth themselves to collaborate in shaping a sustainable, inclusive, and equitable future. This vision is grouped into 3 main categories, each consisting of 10 critical focus areas that together form a holistic plan for transforming the youth experience. That is 1, youth in action; 2, youth in society; 3, climate change and agriculture. Each of these categories carries the seed of transformation, a powerful reminder that Africa's rebirth lies in the hands of the young men and women. Giving the background and rationale, the world is undergoing a rapid transformation, technologically, socially, and economically. Yet millions of youth, or rather young people, remain on the margin, disconnected from opportunities that define the modern age. In Africa, youth unemployment rates soar above 35%. In several nations, and in social exclusion continues to erode confidence in governance and systems. Kenya reflects this continental reality. Each year, more than 1 million young Kenyans enter into labor market, but only a fraction secure stable employment. Many resort to informal market and employment or unproductive survival strategies. Meanwhile, social issues such as drug abuse, mental health challenges, gender-based violence, and disillusion with the politics continue to rise. The 30 Things Vision Agenda for the youth arises as an urgent response to those challenges. It acknowledges the economic solutions alone are insufficient. True transformation must also address mindset, character, gender-based violence, and disillusion with politics and community consciousness. Globally, youth movements are redefining development, from climate activism in Europe to entrepreneurship in Asia and innovation hubs in Africa. The youth are demonstrating their capacity to lead. However, this potential requires policy alignment, institutional support, and inclusive leadership. The agenda therefore provides a policy-style roadmap for governments, organizations, and youth networks to structure empowerment efforts around 3 strategic categories, ensuring that young people participate meaningfully in shaping the future. Vision statement is to create a globally conscious generation of empowered, skilled, and value-driven youth who actively participate in building inclusive, peaceful, and sustainable societies. The mission is to provide a structured roadmap for youth transformation through empowerment, education, social well-being, innovation, and environmental stewardship, promoting global collaboration while emphasizing the African leadership and solutions. The core objectives of this 30 Things Vision Agenda is to develop the intellectual, economic, and moral capacities of young people. Number 2 is to strengthen youth participation in governance and policy and leadership. 3 is to create sustainable employment and entrepreneurship opportunities. 4 is to address social challenges affecting the youth, including health, equality, and inclusion. 5 is to promote environmental stewardship, food security, and climate resilience. Number 6 is to connect African youth initiatives with global movements for sustainable development. Number 7 is to foster innovation, creativity, and the use of digital technology in solving real-world problems. Number 8 is to establish a culture of mentorship, volunteerism, and civic responsibility. Number 9 is to promote gender equality and protect the rights of vulnerable groups. Number 10 is to ensure that youth remain central to the realization of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The strategic pillar number 1 is the youth in action. This pillar focuses on empowering young men through active engagement in leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurship. It seeks to shift the youth narrative from dependency to participation and leadership. Under this focus area, which I will also need to highlight, that this category focuses on empowerment, capacity, and active engagement of young people in leadership. Innovation and personal growth, it challenges the culture of dependency and calls for a mindset shift from waiting for opportunities to creating our own opportunities. And under this category, number 1 is the youth empowerment. And youth empowerment is the heartbeat of transformation. Good people. It means giving young people the power, tools, and space to influence decisions and affect their lives. In Kenya, for example, empowerment goes beyond giving handouts. It means enabling access to resources, skills, and opportunities. Empowered youth are more likely to innovate, create employment, and participate in governance. Government must therefore invest in youth innovation hubs, skills development centers, and mentorship platforms. Empowerment therefore begins with self-awareness. When a young person understands their worth, they cease to be manipulated by political rhetoric and begin to demand accountability and justice. On the same note, therefore, empowerment involves giving young people access to resources, skills, and opportunities to make independent decisions. In the African context, empowerment must go beyond token programs. It should entail targeted funding, skill training, and legal frameworks that ensure youth participation in decision-making processes is involved. Government should institutionalize youth empowerment funds with accountability structures The private sector must also provide internship, apprenticeship, and innovation grants to empower the youth. Empowerment is the fuel of transformation. The second one is the youth mentorship. What is mentorship? Mentorship bridges the experience and aspirations. The African youth need structured mentorship networks, connecting professionals, elders, and community leaders with young people. This transformation is very key. This transfer of wisdom ensures continuity and integrity in leadership. Mentorship therefore builds confidence, ethics, and resilience, values that create leaders capable of balancing ambition with the service. Every successful leader has a mentor who walked before him. Every successful leader, as I've said, has a mentor who walked before him. Mentorship therefore bridges the gap between potential and achievement. In African societies, mentorship used to be the natural process, elders guiding the young people. However, modernization has diluted that culture. The Vision Agenda calls for a structured mentorship program, connecting successful professionals, entrepreneurs, and leaders with young people. Through mentorship, youth can avoid costly mistakes, gain confidence, and develop leadership skills. A mentored generation is a guided generation, and therefore less likely to fall into despair or manipulations. Another one is the youth employment. Unemployment remains one of Africa's greatest challenges. In Kenya, over 1 million young people join the job market annually, yet only a fraction secure formal employment. The Vision Agenda therefore advocates for dual approach, where creating jobs through industrialization, agriculture, and digital innovation, and equipping youth with employable skills aligned with the market needs. Government must partner with private sectors to develop apprenticeship and internship programs where employment is dignity, and giving youth jobs means giving them hope. Youth employment remains both an economic and a moral imperative. The agenda calls for the multi-sectoral approach, expanding industrialization, investing in digital economies, and promoting job creation through local content policies. Training institutions must align curriculum with the labor market demands. Youth employment is not just about earning a living. It is about restoring dignity and belonging. That is very, very key. Another focus area is in entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is the key to breaking dependency on limited formal jobs. Africa future billionaires will emerge from innovative youth who think differently. From tech innovators in Nairobi's Silicon Savannah to small-scale manufacturers in Eldoret, the Vision Agenda calls for access funding mechanism, youth enterprise fund, and business incubation centers. Young people must be taught to embrace risk, think long-term, and understand that entrepreneurship is not just about profit, it's about creating value to the community. and therefore entrepreneurship transforms scarcity into opportunities. The agenda encourages policies that provide startups access to microcredit and simplified registration for youth enterprises, like what we saw the president doing the other day about the Nyota. We have the Hustler Fund and what have you. Entrepreneurship, therefore, needs training, and therefore training should begin in schools. Youth must be taught financial planning, market analysis, and digital marketing. The goal is to nurture a generation that creates jobs rather than seeks the jobs. The following is a financial literacy. Financial literacy is also very key in where many young Africans are trapped in cycles of debt and poor financial decisions due to lack of financial literacy. Schools must integrate financial education into their curriculum to teach budgeting, saving, and investment. Empowered youth must learn that wealth is not measured by consumption, but by productive investment. Productive investment, understanding the power of money transformation. The power of money transforms life. It builds responsible citizens and forward-looking leaders. Then we have the youth representation. It is time to break the cycle where youth are used as political pawns. Real empowerment means representation. In parliaments, county assemblies, and boards, Kenyan constitution already provides for youth inclusion, but the implementation remains weak. The vision agenda therefore calls for institutional reforms to ensure young people are not only represented but also heard and trusted with leadership responsibilities. Representation is not tokenism, it is participation with impact. That is under representation. We need to have youths involved in a representation of within the societies, unlike what usually happens when youths are used by politicians. Majorly the political class are the ones misusing majority of the youths. Then another one is education. Education remains the greatest equalizer. The vision agenda calls for the youth reforms in the shift learning from rote memorization to skill-based, creative, and problem-solving education. Young Africans must be trained to become thinkers, innovators, and creators, not just job seekers. Investment in vocational and training institutes must be prioritized to meet the demands of modern industries. Education, therefore, is liberation, the pathway out of ignorance and poverty. Then we have the sports and arts talent. Kenya has gifted athletes, musicians, actors, and artists whose talents remain untapped due to lack of structures and funding. The vision agenda urges governments to invest in sports academies, art programs, and cultural industries. Sports and arts not only provide employment, but also foster national pride, unity, and mental well-being. Every youth the chance to shine in their unique talent. Number 9 is Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is the spirit of unity among Africans. The youth must be taught that Africans' strength lies in their unity, not in their division. The Vision Agenda encourages young people to embrace African identity, promote trade among African nations, and support cross-border innovations. A united Africa can negotiate better, innovate faster, and stand taller on the global stage. Then we have the technology and digital literacy. Technology and digital literacy is another factor we look at, where the future is digital. In Kenya, young innovators have already transformed banking, transport, and communication through technology. The Vision Agenda prioritizes equipping every youth with the digital skills, from coding to cybersecurity, from e-commerce to artificial intelligence. Digital literacy, therefore, bridges the urban-rural gap, empowers innovation, and ensures African youth remain competitive in the global economy. Then the second category is the youth and society. This category emphasizes the social well-being, health, and moral foundation of youth. Empowerment is incomplete without addressing the social and cultural challenges that shape young lives. One under this one is menstrual health and hygiene, where menstrual health is the basic right, yet many girls in rural Africa still suffer in silence due to stigma and lack of sanitary products. This leads to absenteeism from school and poor self-esteem. The Vision therefore advocates for free and affordable sanitary products and menstrual education, and the dismantling of taboos around menstruation. No girl should miss school because of her period. That is what we emphasize under the 30 Things Vision Agenda. Sexuality and education, where ignorance fuels early pregnancies, sexually transmitted infections, and gender-based violence. Comprehensive sexuality education. Comprehensive sexuality education must be age-appropriate and value-based teaching, where they teach young people responsibility and respect. Empowered youth understand that their bodies are sacred and that choices have consequences. Silence is not morality. Knowledge is protection. Then we have the female genital mutilation, where FGM remains one of Africa's most harmful traditions. Despite progress, thousands of girls still face this violation yearly. The Vision Agenda calls for stronger enforcement laws, community awareness, and support for survivors. Ending FGM requires collective will, from elders to youth, men to women. It is time to protect the girl child, and we protect them fully. Then number 4 is childhood marriages, where early marriages rob young girls of their education and dreams. The Vision Agenda insists that marriage must be a choice, not a condition of poverty or cultural expectations. Government and communities must ensure that every child, especially girls, stay in school, because education is her best dowry. Childhood pregnancies teenage pregnancy remains a crisis across Africa. It is not only a health issue, but also a social and economic one. The Vision Agenda emphasizes awareness, access to reproductive health services, and strong parental guidance. Therefore, communities must support young mothers instead of stigmatizing them, helping them return to school and rebuild their future. Alcohol and drug abuse, or rather substance abuse, is also another factor, or rather focus area under youth and society, where substance abuse is slightly destroying Africa's youth. The Vision Agenda calls for the multi-pronged approach, where strict enforcement laws, rehabilitation centers, and community education. Young people must be reminded that intoxication steals their future and dreams. A sober generation is a strong generation. The mental health action is also another focus area under this category, where mental health challenges are rising due to unemployment, social pressure, and digital stress. Depression, anxiety, and suicide are taking alarming tolls. The Vision Agenda demands that mental health services be integrated into health systems and that schools create safe spaces for emotional support. Youth must learn that seeking help is not weakness, it is a courage. Number 8 is inclusivity of young persons with disability. A just society must include everyone. Many young people with disabilities face discrimination and limited access to education and employment. The Vision Agenda therefore pushes the inclusive policy, accessible infrastructure, and opportunities for youth with disabilities to thrive. Disability is not inability. It is a different ability waiting to shine. Then cyberbullying. The digital era has birthed a new form of violence, cyberbullying. Many youth, especially girls, face harassment online. The Vision Agenda therefore encourages responsible use of social media and urges governments to strengthen cybercrime laws. Digital space must also be safe, respectful, and empowering. And the last area under this category is the blood donation. A simple act of giving blood can save countless lives. Youth are the backbone of any nation's health system. The Vision Agenda therefore encourages every youth to make voluntary blood donation a habit. By giving blood, youth affirm their commitment to community and humility. The last category is the climate change and agriculture, where Africa's survival depends on how well we adapt to climate change. The category calls upon youth to lead the fight for a greener, sustainable, and food-secure continent. And the focus area number 1 here is the climate change mitigation. Youth must be the champions of environment protection. The Vision Agenda calls for tree planting, waste management, and renewable energy use to reduce carbon emission. Every youth should understand that protecting nature is protecting their future. Number 2 is climate change adaptation and resilience, where communities must adapt to the changing weather patterns through innovation, building food-resistant infrastructure, diversifying crops, and investing in early warning systems. Youth-led resilient programs can transform vulnerable communities from sustainable ones. Then nature-based solutions inspired by nature, such as reforestation, wetland restoration, and sustainable land use are key on balancing development and conservation. Youth can lead eco-restoration projects, turning environmental challenges into economic opportunities. Then water solutions and management. Water scarcity threatens food production and health. The Vision Agenda calls for rainwater harvesting, smart irrigation, and water recycling technologies. Clean water must be treated as a human right, not a luxury. Then we have the smart agriculture, which is the modern agriculture must embrace technology. Youth must adopt digital farming, precision agriculture, and data-driven decision-making to increase productivity. Agriculture is no longer old-fashioned. It is the next frontier of innovation. Then we have food security. A nation that cannot feed itself cannot be free. The Vision Agenda promotes youth participation in food production, value addition, and market linkage. Youth must view farming as a notable and profitable venture. Beekeeping is another one. Beekeeping offers income and improves biodiversity and supports environmental conservation. Youth can embrace this sustainable practice by boost the rural economies. Small bees can create big change. Sustainable energy, number 8, Africa must move away from fossil fuels. The Vision Agenda supports youth-driven renewable energy innovations, solar, wind, biogas, and hydro. Access to clean energy empowers schools, hospitals, and homes. Another one is agribusiness, whereby agribusiness is the bridge between farming and the market. Youth can explore processing, package, logistics, and exports. Government should simplify licensing and support startups to make agriculture profitable. Then agro-processing. Adding value to farm products creates jobs and stabilizes market. Youth-owned agro-processing ventures can transform rural economies. It is time to stop exporting raw products and start exporting finished products. In a nutshell, the 30 Things Vision Agenda for Youth is more than an idea. It is a movement. It calls upon every young person to rise, think, and act differently. It challenges governments to invest in youth, communities to nurture them, and leaders to listen to the youth. Africa and Kenyan youth must no longer wait for change. They must become the change, like the rest of the world. The power to shape destiny lies in their hands. Let the 30 Things Vision Agenda be our guiding light, a blueprint for the renewed, empowered, and prosperous Africa. This document was prepared by I, who is a Youth for Change, Transformation, and Empowerment. I urge you to support this program by giving your comment, whether positive, whether negative. We are learning together. My contact is +254 7 12 21 13 66, or you can comment through the email I gave earlier, that is makohamunika@gmail.com. Thank you.